Hey YouTube! No, this is not some alternate universe. This is the $1 Million Matchmaker. It's just that today's topic is a little bit different. Today, we're going to talk about Etsy. That's right, Etsy. Everyone's go-to place for customized, homemade. I have an Etsy store. I've had it since 2018. I only started taking it seriously around the end of 2021. I have about 500 sales. The last 100 are made within the last month. Multiple 5-star reviews. All this while doing my regular 9-to-5 job. And I'd really like to share with you the strategies I've used that have helped me the most. And you really want to stick around for the last strategy because I feel like it's something that 95% of Etsy stores don't even try. And with that, let's get started.
We both still young, so what's the rush? The night is young and we not drunk enough. You'll come around if I don't do too much.
Now, my Etsy store is, as you might have guessed, based around personal care and cosmetic items, but you can use these strategies for literally any type of product you're selling on Etsy. I know this because I've actually used these strategies when I was promoting pain relieving products on Amazon back in the day to the tune of about $250,000. And with that in mind, let's go to strategy 1. Make multiple listings. Now, I know this is advice given by a few channels out there, but it is so true. For any particular product, there are probably hundreds of listings. Therefore, the more listings that you have on your storefront, the more likely chance that you'll be discovered. Thankfully, the process of creating duplicate listings is fairly simple. Let's take a look. All we have to do is on the listings page, click the gear wheel icon on the lower right corner of any listing and just click copy. This will create a copy of that particular listing. I would suggest using this copy to create a variation of the original listing. A variation that you think will be appealing to potential customers, of course. Now, the second strategy I've used to get to this point, use third-party analytics tools. Now, for anyone who's ever maintained an online store, using third-party analytics tools should seem like second nature. And while Etsy does provide some basic level analytics on your dashboard, it leaves a lot to be desired. Other analytics tools include Marmalade, Sell on Etsy, Putler, and many, many more. The next strategy I'm going to talk about is something that is as old as time, has been around since marketplaces have existed. Branding. Basically, as the Etsy marketplace becomes more and more competitive with more and more storefronts and more listings, you're going to have to find better and better ways to distinguish your competitiveness, your responsiveness, and your product quality. The best way to do this, in my opinion, is through branding. And don't get me wrong, Etsy already does quite a bit to support storefronts in their branding efforts. Just that last spring, they opened up that Star Seller program, which makes it easier for people to identify reliable storefronts. And on a more cynical note, it probably allows Etsy to segment their marketplace into high-performing sellers and everybody else, but that's a topic for another day. But there are ways you can enhance branding yourself. 2 simple ideas. If you have a company logo or a brand logo, I suggest you put that logo on all Etsy products, digital or otherwise. Second, if you have a company and you'd like to promote it through your Etsy sales, either through physical or digital products, I suggest you promote it somehow, flyers, follow-up emails, whatever it takes. Because this way you could possibly get some of your Etsy customers outside of the Etsy ecosystem and onto your website or your blog, or maybe even your YouTube channel. Wouldn't that be great? And piggybacking off this idea of branding, here's a strategy that really applies to all the Etsy sellers that are selling durable goods like personal care, cosmetics, or scented products. Offer product samples, ideally products that are a higher margin than what the customer actually bought. This is a strategy that I've used about halfway through the past year, and it's worked out really well for me. I've managed to convert some of my customers from a lower margin product that they initially bought, like a soap, to a more higher margin product like a foot scrub that I also offer on my storefront. In the shipments I send out, I put samples of higher end products in a 2-ounce bottle of about this size, and I put my company logo somewhere in the front here. This works particularly well for scented products, as online you can't really smell the product before you actually buy it. Now, the next strategy is something that I suggest you don't do. Let's say, for example, you have an awesome product listing on Etsy. It has great reviews, awesome title, great description, great tags. Why would you change it? No, really. Why would you delete it? Why? What, if you have a good thing going, why would you do it? Okay, so let me be more specific. Among my high-performing product listings, I try really hard not to delete anything, or I think really hard before I do. For instance, for the product tags on a certain listing, I wouldn't try to delete the product tags to see if there are any better tags out there. No, a smarter strategy is to simply copy the listing and then modify the tags on the copy to see if you have better performance, better results that way. Also, as a side note, if you're not using all 13 potential tags for your product listing, you're not really maximizing the reach of that listing. And since we're now on the topic of marketing, I'd like to take this time to introduce you to one of our more popular courses. This is the Cosmetics and Personal Care Branding and Marketing course by Alchemist Express. In this course, we break down many of the rudimentary basics of defining your target audience, figuring out where and how to target them on Etsy, social media, mailing lists, wherever, and ultimately accomplish what most brands dream of: creating repeat buyers and brand ambassadors. So guys, don't miss this opportunity. In fact, if you sign up on our newsletter today, you will get exclusive access to the course preview, where you will get just a taste of what this course has to offer. Alright, now it's time for the last and probably best strategy I have for you regarding Etsy. And warning, this one will involve a little bit of math, or really a little bit of analysis using Excel. Simply put, use your data to get some insight. In my case, I did a little bit of forecasting. And yes, I know I previously mentioned that you can use third-party analytics tools to gain an edge on Etsy, but what I find is that you can't actually use your own personal data efficiently with those tools. Let me give you an example of what I mean using my own Etsy data.
Okay, so first things first, we're going to show you how to pull your own personal data from Etsy. So from the dashboard, we go to Settings, and then we go to Options. And here we can choose the type of file we would like to download. So we're going to download info from orders on our storefront. And from the drop-down menus, we can download orders from a particular month or particular years. So we're going to download orders from 2021. And this is how one of these files looks like. It's got the date of orders that were placed, the name of the item ordered, the username of the person who ordered, and the order total. And what we'll do is delete some of these columns so that the order totals and the dates of these orders are next to each other. And we delete the rest of the columns so that we can focus on this data alone. And this is 1 year's worth of sales data. In this next file, we've actually stacked 3 years worth of sales data on top of each other. Here are all my monthly sales from 2020 to 2022. As you can see, here are the monthly sales from January 2020, then February 2020, and so on and so forth. And what we want to do is forecast the next 12 months of sales to see if we can get some insight. So we basically highlight these two columns of data, and we click something and we click something in Excel called Forecast Sheet. And we get an output that looks like this. This gives you two useful pieces of information. The orange portion of the right side of the graph represents my sales forecast for 2023. It is divided into 3 sections because that's how the forecasting algorithm works behind the scenes. It gives you an upper bound forecast of sales, a mid-range forecast of sales, and a lower bound forecast. But that's only half the useful info we get. If we look at the graph, we'll notice that it seems to follow a pattern. From November to May, my store gets a lot of sales, with sharp drop-offs in January following the Christmas season. This is extremely useful information, as now I definitely know when to offer discounts, increase advertising, or even lower prices. Now, this is not to say that your data will reveal such a clear pattern, but keep playing with the data and you never know what you'll find.
Anyway, guys, that's all for today. I hope these tips help you in your Etsy journey just as much as they've helped me. In the coming year, I plan to grow this storefront as much as I possibly can because Etsy is an amazing platform with a ton of upside. Anyway, that's it for $1 Million Batchmaker. Until next time, peace out.